Mr. Speaker, our Republican Senate majority is killing our conservative agenda, our Republican agenda, and President Trump's agenda. The murder weapon is the Senate filibuster rule, an archaic accident of history created during the days of horse and buggy and slavery. The filibuster rule destroys the basic democratic principle of majority rule and obstructs passage of legislation unless a 60% supermajority of senators agree. While today's 52-senator Republican majority can abolish the filibuster rule any time it wants, so long as the filibuster rule is in place, Republicans can pass nothing without the consent of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. Think about it. Our Republican Senate majority has abdicated control and empowered Chuck Schumer and the Democrat minority to obstruct the will of the Republican House, obstruct the will of the Republican Senate majority, and obstruct the will of President Trump, and obstruct the will of the tens of millions of American voters who sent us to Washington. That is political suicide and an abject betrayal of the millions of American voters who sent us here. There will be no border wall because our Republican senators empower Democrats to kill it. There will be no Obamacare repeal because our Republican senators empower Democrats to stop us. America's out-of-control deficits and debt will cause a debilitating insolvency and bankruptcy that destroys an America it took generations of our ancestors to build, because our Republican senators empower Democrats to spend money we don't have to borrow to get, and cannot afford to pay back. During 2015 and 2016, the House worked hard to address America's challenges. Over 500 of our bills never got so much as a single Senate floor vote. All that work wasted. The Senate filibuster rule is not in the Constitution. It is not a federal law or statute. It exists solely at the discretion of the Senate majority. President Trump understands the filibuster rule and that it threatens the president's entire legislative agenda. On May 2nd, President Trump urged our Republican senators to end the filibuster rule, stating, quote, "to change the rules now to 51%, end quote. On May 30th, President Trump reiterated, quote, "the U.S. Senate should switch to 51 votes immediately and get health care and tax cuts approved fast and easy. Dems would do it, no doubt," end quote. President Trump's pleas have fallen on deaf ears. Exhibit A in this murder trial is an April 7th letter to Chuck Schumer, of all people, and Mitch McConnell that lists the accomplices, those deaf ears, who are killing the conservative agenda, the Republican agenda, and President Trump's agenda. The letter states, "We urge you to preserve existing rules, practices, and traditions as they pertain to the right of members to engage in extended debate on legislation before the U.S. Senate. We are united in our determination to preserve the ability of members to engage in extended debate when bills are on the Senate floor." Each senator on Exhibit A empowers Chuck Schumer and the Democrats to kill President Trump's agenda. Remarkably, even an Alabama senator supports killing President Trump's agenda. Mr. Speaker, Republican senators claim we need the filibuster to play defense when Democrats control the Senate. I submit that claim is myopic and short-sighted. In the past 90 years, Republicans have not had a single filibuster-proof Senate, while Democrats enjoyed filibuster-proof Senates in the 1930s, the 1960s, and in 2009. In those years, Democrats passed Obamacare and forced Great Society welfare programs on us that busted our budgets, destroyed the work ethic, broke up American families, and threatened America with a national insolvency. Over the long haul, and because of the filibuster, Democrats forced their leftist, socialist policies down America's throats, while Republicans never have the power to reverse the damage done. That is the Senate filibuster legacy. Mr. Speaker, time is running out. America's future is at stake. Now is not the time to play procedural games. I agree with President Trump. Senate, end the filibuster. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.